All right, game five here. Lots of. As soon as I saw this board, I thought to myself, this was going to be brutal. There's torturer, and there's a village, so you could chain torturers. Yeah, this is not going to be a pleasant experience for somebody. Anyways, you have to build the engine. There's colonies, so you can't really. I mean, there's gardens, so you could probably take a lot of the curses and be okay. Maybe do something with IGG that way, but there's colonies, and colonies way a lot more than gardens. Maybe there's a three pile thing with gardens and curses and estates or duchies. I'm not sure how well that works. So there's gardens to take note of. So I mean, accepting the odd curse or two isn't the worst thing in the world. I mean, it never is really. But you have to build this torture chain, right? And how do you do it? Well, you want to get to five. Ways to get to five on the board. Probably the best way is dungeon and silver. Opening dungeon silver will get you to five, much like warehouse and silver. And I mean, dungeon and warehouse, they're very nicely designed cards. I mean, certain situations you want the extra pull from the warehouse. Certain situations you want the longevity of the dungeon. Anyway, so we both open silver. My opponent goes for the dungeon, which I could totally understand, but I pick up the Watchtower because, as you'll see, Watchtower is one of the top five cards in Dominion. Right? That's Watchtower for you here. Top five. Watchtower silver also can get you to five because it draws a couple cards off the top there. So my opponent plays their dungeon, gets torture up. Duration dungeon comes around, gets them torture again. So that's brilliant. That is money's worth for that torturer. But this is why Watchtower is one of the top five cards in the game, right? Look at that. Curse taken, trashed. Easy. Easy. Watchtower draw, get me to five. No, get me to four. But because it's one of the top five cards in Dominion, I'm going to pick up another Watchtower. Really just to be defended from the torture attacks, and it also can work well with the discard attack as well as the dungeon. So I mean, you get a city in, play a dungeon, you're already down to two cards from a torturer play, then play a watchtower. There's draw there. Right, so here again, I just avoid taking curses as much as I could because there's no trashing. Once the curses are in your deck, they can't come out of your deck. So as best as possible, just trying to not have them there. Still struggling to hit five, which is why I picked up a silver on the turn previous to this, and still struggling to hit five. I mean, I was hit with an attack that turn, so there's that to consider. But I would really like to get a city. I have two watchtowers and a torture in my deck. Need that city, man. So here a bit of deck tracking means I could put this dungeon on top of my deck. I believe there's a watchtower left. So I was hoping to find it here to be defended, but nope, not gonna find it. But it's not terrible because, I mean, like I said, the reduced hand size, the Watchtower doesn't mind that too much. So four for my opponent, they pick up a woodcutter. Now I find that to be strange. I mean, surely another dungeon or even Watchtower top five. Look at this top five card in the game. Top five, getting me to six, picking up my first city here. I mean, if you want a plus buy a market or wait till the city is run. But yeah, I didn't really like the woodcutter, but it's whatever. So here my opponent gets yeah, city followed by torturer, but like I said, Watchtower is top five. Top five. Still keeping me free from purple. Does not like that purple color. Um, fortunate, well, unfortunate. I don't know if my opponent didn't play another torturer there just because I had the Watchtower. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But it looked like they held back on playing a torturer there. They're still able to get to five, picking up a city. I'm able to play my torturer. I think this is the first time. So making my opponent feel some of that heat. No, this is not the first time. This is at least the second time I remember. So now, again, I track my deck. I know there's a city in the back. I don't have another torturer. So you know what? Let's put the torturer on top to pair it with the city. Dead torturer means I could safely discard here. I don't have to play games like take one curse, discard curse on something. Just know that there's one thing. Our secret chamber is going to be quite a good card here. Not only can it find you, pair your actions and your draw cards, but you could also get a lot of money if you get your draw up. So here, just the single torture. I'm thrilled to see just the single torture from my opponent. Again, just tracking my deck to know what to buy when I have the Watchtower in my hand. So there, I wanted the city because I knew there was a torturer left, and I'm able to now here double hit my opponent. I think this is the first double hit of the game. So I'm gonna play dungeon first, obviously, just to get it into play. After, of course, my opponent discards here. It seems to be a bit of an uncomfortable decision for them. And yeah, look at this nice double hit. Nice double hit. First of the game, and after that rough start in the beginning, I am looking to be in good shape. No reason to play this Watchtower. I don't draw anything off of it. And I could just top deck something with it. Top 5 again. Top 5. City goes on top because there is a Watchtower left. So if I give it some plus actions, it'll draw some cards for me, right? Very nice, very nice. So City, I should have played the Watchtower here. Should have played the Watchtower because at least here it'll draw, but if I play Torturer now, there's no possible way it can draw. And if I drew into a City, then the Watchtower would just be sitting in my hand doing nothing. I mean, now I can top deck something, presumably. But yeah, I should have played that Watchtower first. But as is, I'm able to get a double attack in, so I don't mind that. And my opponent actually takes a curse here and discards one. And I pick up another Torturer here, anticipating cities in the back. So here, gain that curse. Too easy for the Watchtower. Just bin that right away. Get that rubbish away from me. Play all your Torturers right now. Let's get rid of this curse pile. Yep. Loving it. Loving it. I'm telling you, Watchtower is top 5. Now, I just saying that because, it put in a lot of work in this game. I feel like I got lucky with the Watchtowers. Because if I got hit with these Torturers at inopportune times without Watchtowers, could be very, very ugly and a much different game at this point. So my opponent is finally able to double chain the Torturers there. Bang, bang. Dungeon comes out, so maybe there'll be another Torturer. Who knows? Who knows? I believe now, instead of playing a Torturer, they play a Woodcutter and start to go for the cities here. Now there are 3 cities left, and city is going to become so valuable because the curses will run. The curses absolutely will run with all these Torturers. And the cities will run, which means there's plus buys now. And whenever 2 piles run like that and there's city in the game, estates become a factor. You have to look at that very closely. So here, you see, if I had played the Watchtower first, I'd have drawn, and then I could play the Torturer and draw some more. But unfortunately, not able to get draw out of the Watchtower. Just going to top deck a city, far more valuable than Torturer at this point. The curses are whatever. And look, my Watchtowers are, top 5, so I don't have to worry about curses. Dead draw for my opponent. This is incredible for me. I feel like in such a good position at this point after seeing that dead draw. I think I have at least as many cities and I have less curses in my deck. I just seem to be in a very, very good position. And as many Torturers, I believe. And I think this is the first time I'm able to draw through. I see all the cards on my deck at least. So yeah, the only thing left are 2 estates and you discard off that dungeon. So again, no reason to play this Watchtower. 11 mana buy, could go for colony. City is more valuable, I think. Platinum is obviously a consideration, but yeah, that city, that draw, have to take it. I have to take it. Can't do without it. So unfortunately, my Watchtower doesn't show up here, so I have to gain a curse at this point after discarding 2 cards, and I will discard again if I'm hit with the Torturer, but I'm not hit, so that's, an acceptable outcome. That's the first curse I took for the game. The first curse, Watchtower, again, top 5, man, top 5. I should stop saying that and, provide some insight into the game. So, right, so I have 5 cities. My opponent has to take the city. You cannot give me 6 cities. Even though it activates my cities here, you cannot give me 6 cities, which will soon have plus buy on them. There's no way. That is right play buying that city, even though it activates mine, giving me a boosted turn here. So I agree with that play from my opponent. You cannot give me that sixth city. So here I hit my opponent with a couple torturers, just trying to see if he will take the last curse, but he refuses. So my cities do not generate me plus buy yet. As a result, I will just pick up a platinum here because I have no plus buy. Do not top deck the platinum. I want to see my draw cards, not my money cards right away. So here, dead torturer, and here I take the curse just to activate my cities. I think that's reasonable. I'm not sure though. Maybe I could have made my opponent take it for me. I mean, because then it would put them in a very uncomfortable position of taking the curse and having my cities activate mid-turn or discarding cards. So I don't know if taking the curse was the right thing to do there, but for me it was a guaranteed way to activate these cities and get me money and plus buys off of them. So now we are full steam ahead here with the plus buys. Not gonna play this torture, it does nothing and will trigger a bad shuffle. And here is where I choke. This is what you call a choke, right? So I didn't see the 3 pile. I thought cities just give you cards and coins and buys because it's a good card, right? The choke is I can empty the dungeons and pick up a duchy and win. I missed it completely. I wasn't even looking at a 3 pile. Instead, I was just looking to set up for my next turn, which is why I top decked a dungeon and a torturer. I bought the colony because my opponent said, wow, so close. And then I realized, oh wait, maybe there's a pile out somewhere I should be aware of. So let me buy a colony to preserve, to save myself, to ensure against the pile out somewhere because we are level on points. He bought an estate on the turn prior, so we were at 1-1, and then I picked up the colony to prevent any sneaky pile outs, but I missed a pile out of my own, so yeah, now you know. Cities only do nice things if there are 2 piles out, and if there are 2 piles out, the third one you should keep an eye on. So 20 for my opponent after discarding a few cards to the secret chamber. So quite a good turn for them. Colony, and I think this has to be province to prevent a pile out because now I'm aware of the pile out. But this hand isn't great, even though I'll see 4 cards with the dungeon. I just have this feeling that I'm not gonna find any cities. I'm gonna choke out here. And I deserve it, okay? I absolutely deserve to lose this game after missing that pile out on the dungeons and the duchy. I mean, even the estate would have done, but no. You know, you don't want points in this league. You know, points aren't important. You don't need that. You just want to, you know, set up. Keep setting up. You set up, and you'll set up yourself. Anyway, like I said, no city, and just going to buy a gardens. It is at least as good. And hope that my opponent has a similar turn, but I doubt it. They have the 2 dungeons, just as I did. And city, city, city. Yeah, this is game over. So that is the 5th game for you here. I had it after my opponent had quite a good opening, getting 5 costs quickly. The Watchtowers did immense work. I'm sorry, Watchtower, I let you down. You top 5 in the game, and I still couldn't give you the W. So that's game 5. See you in the next one. My opponent here doesn't miss the pile out. Very good of him. And ends the game on a win. So into game 6 we go. Thank you for watching.